Hi everyone, this is Blake Anderson, and in this video I'm going to walk you through 5 top tips to enhance your Instagram Reels. Typically people will shoot their Instagram Reels using their phone, right? Which is fine, which is more of a natural approach, usually in the moment. That's typically what people will do. But if you do want to enhance your Instagram Reels, enhance the quality, also the story, make it more engaging and more immersive, then in this video, I'm going to walk you through top 5 tips to enhance your Instagram Reels. So I'm going to talk about, how to shoot the Instagram videos using a vertical format on your Sony A7IV. I'm going to talk about shooting flat. I'm also going to talk about how I edit some of my Instagram Reels, including how I edit them to the music or to the beat. And finally, I'm going to go through considerations for a story and just ways that you can set up your sequence of Instagram shots so that you can travel through time and just convey a certain kind of message or story. By shooting in Instagram Reels, you're going to capture, a greater audience usually. I know that Meta is pushing more content on Instagram Reels. I know that YouTube, Google is also pushing their short video content, as well as obviously TikTok as being kind of one of the leaders right now. So by maximizing and optimizing your video so that you're getting higher quality video, but also thinking about story and engagement, you're going to be able to capture more of that audience. So the first tip is to shoot in the highest quality using your Sony camera, your Sony A7IV. So in this case with the A7IV, that is the XAVC S-I 4K with a 422 10-bit recording. So this is allowing you to get much more color than you would using an 8-bit file. So when you're using 8-bit, you're only using RGB of 256 level per channel, while the 10-bit jumps up to 1024 level per channel. So this means that in an 8-bit image, it's displaying about 16.7 million, whereas with the 10-bit, you're displaying up to 1 billion colors. So much more in terms of what you're capturing in terms of the colors. In order to shoot in this recording, you're going to need, I think, something compatible to an SanDisk Stream Pro 300 megabit SanDisk. I use the 28 gigabyte version. You don't necessarily have to shoot in XAVC S-I. The file size are bigger, and depending on your computer, you might want to consider other more lower, more compressed codecs. But at least if you want to capture the highest quality image and have, I guess, greater control of the color grading and over just the ways in which you can manipulate the image, then I would suggest shooting in this XAVC S-I 4K. Now, the second tip to get, a killer Instagram story is to shoot vertically with your Sony A7IV. So if you shoot in either 24 frames per second or 60 frames per second, you're going to be shooting, using that XAVC S-I in the 10-bit 422 codec. You're going to be able to capture the best image without compressing or cropping the image. If you shoot vertically, you're not going to have to compress the image or crop it. This might not be necessarily intuitive. Most people, are used to obviously holding their camera horizontally, and if you're thinking about maybe capturing it for YouTube or other platforms, you might still want to shoot in kind of a horizontal kind of capture. But let's just say you want to get the best, most pixels for your image, you're going to want to shoot vertically. That way you're going to maximize and optimize the amount of pixel count you can get for your video. When you shoot vertically, you're capturing 2160 pixels by 3840 pixels. If you're shooting horizontally, you're capturing, just the opposite, 384 over 2160. So if you do shoot horizontally, you're going to have to crop the image, and maybe that's okay for what you want to get. Let's say Instagram story is just a secondary export for you for your video. then you're going to have to obviously crop it. But if you're capturing just for Instagram story, or maybe for TikTok or some other vertical platform, then shooting vertically in camera is going to allow you to capture the most megapixels and get the highest quality image, so that you're not going to have to compress and crop in your image. Now, the third key step, if you want to get a killer Instagram story, is to shoot in either picture profile 8, which is an S-Log3, or you want to shoot in picture profile 11, which is a Cinetone picture profile. So these two profiles are very popular with a lot of creators. S-Log3 is in the settings, in the default settings of the Sony camera, is in picture profile 8, and I will show you here how you can set your settings like the way I have them here. The main detail is you want to ensure that the detail is down to -7. You generally don't want the camera to sharpen your image or to add detail. You can always do that in post, so that's why typically it's, I think, recommended to lower the detail. So also if you go to picture profile 11 in your camera, you can change to make sure that the detail is lower to -7, and you can ensure that the color space and the settings are similar to the ones that you have on your camera. So what I do is, when I'm capturing in picture profile 8 in the S-Log3, I'm overexposing, so the exposure levels are going to be either between 1.3 and 2. I don't want to go any more over probably 1.7 or 2, and that, because then my highlights are going to clip. In order to get the best image with the S-Log3, you're going to expose by roughly 1.3 to 2 stops over, because that way you're going to capture the most dynamic range that the camera is going to allow for. And you're going to want to stay with the 800 ISO, that way, because that's the native ISO in your camera, at least the base ISO in the Sony camera, and that way you're going to get the least noise and just get the best image. So what I've done is I've set my Sony camera to gamma display assist, so that I set a customized setting to my dial on my Sony camera. That way I can switch between the flat image of the S-Log3 and between the conversion that the Sony camera will automatically do to convert the flat image to a Rec. 709 using a LUT. This way it's not going to actually bake the conversion into the image, but rather it's just giving you a display of what it's going to look like once you make that conversion in post. And another thing to consider is I typically shoot picture profile 8 during the daytime or in interiors when I have control of the lighting. But if I'm shooting at night, I'm going to use picture profile 11, because when you're shooting flat, it's not typically the best at nighttime, because you're going to have to really up the ISO, because usually you're going to want to record with a few stops over exposed. But if you shoot in picture profile 11, which is the Cinetone, the camera, the Sony camera, it's going to give you really nice, cool, kind of more cinematic colors in your recording with the Sony camera. And so it's also going to allow you to not get so maybe overly involved in trying to color correct using the flat image, which can be more daunting or just more involved. So if you just want to keep things simple, still want to get a more cinematic image, but don't want to do maybe the excess color grading, then definitely picture profile 11 using Cinetone is definitely a way to go. But I would say, particularly at night, I would still shoot in picture profile 11, because you're still going to get a cinematic image and it just looks nice, I would say, on a camera. Now, once I capture the highest quality video in a vertical dimension on my camera, and then in usually a picture profile 8 or a picture profile 11. Then I'm going to, in post, I'm going to convert that flat image into a Rec. 709 color space. You could, use ACES or, color grade directly from the flat image. I just find that, converting to using a LUT just allows me to get kind of a starting place in order for me then to color grade. So I will use Maxon 1 Colorista because what I would do is I'm now trying to edit just in Final Cut. Typically in the past I would have went into DaVinci because it is in some sense a more powerful color grading NLE. Obviously it's still a great NLE and it's free. It's got a lot of features, don't get me wrong, but I like to stay to Final Cut, and so I use Colorista, and then I apply a LUT in Colorista, and then I use the Colorista different color grading features to edit the image. From that, I then add usually a look to the image using some of these popular different presets. I will then use Mojo and add kind of a more cinematic vibe. I will typically tone down, each the look, also the look and also the Mojo, because it's just too much if you keep it to 100%. Then I will add a renoiser, so typically when you're shooting, you're going to want to add maybe some noise in post. You're also going to want to consider when you're going to export to Instagram, the image is going to be quite compressed, right? And so by using renoiser, you can either use compression proofing, which is a setting in the renoiser, or you can use maybe image vitamins. I find that typically Instagram compresses the image quite a bit, but generally you're wanting to control as much as possible the image in post before, and compress it yourself before you allow, I guess, the algorithm in Instagram to compress the image using their algorithm, right? So and then the last tip to get a killer Instagram story is to consider both the music, and editing to the beat, considering the story, what kind of story you want to convey in terms of like the emotion and just the sequence of events that you want to portray. So I use Epidemic Sound, a service on the internet that sources, all types of music. That's what I do and on the website you can pick the emotion that you want to convey. Every song kind of conveys a certain emotion. So by listening to the song, kind of understanding maybe what kind of emotion I want to get across, I will then choose a song. Then I will edit the clips typically to the beat of the song, and that could be different instruments in the song or just the drum set. I then will also consider the tension that's built in the song, editing maybe more quick when it comes to a certain milestone of the song. So that's just a way to think about creating more engaging and more immersive Instagram stories, is to consider both the quality of the image, also the story, also considering engaging through music and the senses. And if you can capture an image using sound, obviously that's going to be more engaging. So finding these ways to engage your audience, I think, is really going to benefit your stories. So hopefully these 5 steps really helped you think about how you can improve the quality of your stories. If you want to sell a product, or if you just want to get kind of more immersive stories that you provide to your audience. Hopefully I think these 5 steps will really help you enhance your image and your story using the Sony A7IV. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks and have a great day.